Welcome to CIFF Media. I'm Shane, and today we're joined by Claire and from Celtic Co, British lifestyle brand, and and Sune from Refined Networks. So lovely to have you. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Just to start off a bit, Sune, would you like to give a quick introduction to Refined Networks and what it is that you actually do?
Yeah, thank you, Shane. We founded the business back in 2021.
Yeah.
With a clear mission of supporting international fashion brand onto the largest marketplaces globally. So that was a clear mission from us at that time. We saw that the market was changing from traditional wholesale. A lot of the department stores was transitioning themselves to marketplaces. And we also saw that international fashion brands had challenges operating. So this was the reason why we started.
Yes. And when you say marketplaces across the different sort of countries and segments, what are those specifically in terms of which marketplaces and what countries?
Yeah, so we started the business with actually Scandinavian brands into the UK. But we have seen that our US market is just so much bigger.
Yes.
Today, the US for Refined is 3 or 4 times bigger than the UK. And it comes with so much more opportunities than the UK.
Yeah.
However, having said that, we are still operating a very good business in the UK. The US is, of course, our front runner.
Yeah.
And we recently just opened for the entire European marketplaces.
Okay, interesting. And looking at the US, seeing as you know, a lot of things are going on in the US. What are some of the biggest challenges you face, especially when entering the US market?
So for fashion brands into the US, as you rightly said, it's a continent.
Yeah.
It's 370 million people. So if you had to do it on your own, where to start? And I always say to brands, there's 2 challenges going into the different marketplaces. There is, first of all, be listed.
Yeah.
Because many of the big platforms like Nordstrom, Macy's, and Bloomingdale's get approached by international brands all over the world every day. So how do you actually get your brand listed? And that's one thing. And the other thing, once you are listed, how do you actually get visibilities and attention in a jungle of thousands of brands? And this is what Refined do.
Yes. And how do you do that specifically, just as a concrete example, maybe?
Yeah, so the way we do it is that, first of all, we have a really strong cooperation with the platforms. So today we have around 75 brands in the US. This means that we are also part of the strategies for the platforms. They see us as a go-to solution for new brands launching into their platforms.
Yeah.
What we also see in America or on a global scale is that a lot of these department stores are converting themselves into marketplaces. So that means that the traditional wholesale buy is dying, and brands need to operate on their own. And that's why we have seen that we are the solution for platforms to access some international brands.
Yeah.
Having said that, one of the things which is important also for me to underline is that I think brands also need to want it. Refine can do a lot of the success, but brands also need to commit to it in terms of stock and so on.
Yeah.
And we see brands definitely want to do that.
Yes, interesting. And Claire, you're from Celtic Co. Could you give us a brief introduction to what brand it is and what the focus sort of is?
Sure. So Celtic was set up just over 35 years ago, and it's really stayed true to the principles it was built on. So it's about sustainable product.
Yeah.
It's about natural fibres. It's about beautiful craftsmanship, great quality. We still make a lot of product in the UK. We have our own sheepskin factory in UK where the office is based, where we make all of our slippers and boots. And we're really about timeless product that can live and last in people's wardrobes with a really light touch on the environment.
Yeah, so less trend driven.
Less trend driven, definitely, yes.
Interesting. And now that you're obviously working with Refined Networks, what made you pick up that sort of collaboration?
I mean, I think I would echo exactly what Sune said, is that going it alone into a market where you don't know the market, you don't have a relationship with the brands, you maybe don't have the internal expertise around legals, platform integrations, shipping, it's a massive undertaking. What Refined Networks offered us when we were looking at the opportunity to do this was market knowledge, strong relationships, a really good tech stack, which meant that all of the difficult, hard things could be relied upon from Refined Networks. And that enabled my team, who, which is not a huge team, to focus on the things that we do really well, which is product development, customer experience, great sourcing, great creative, great storytelling. So it allows us to really play into the things that we're strong at, and we use Refined Networks to really help us in the areas where we're not so good or don't have quite so much resource.
Yes. Could you tell us maybe a bit about the journey? Because obviously you started at one point, and now I don't know how for how long it's been going, but I would expect that, of course, something has changed over the course.
Yes, so we've worked with Refined Networks across the UK and the US, and the US is really the kind of star story for the last year in terms of its growth and its opportunity. And we're just in the process of opening into some of the European markets. So I think when we started, what we were looking for was somebody that could almost work in partnership with us. So like an extension of our team, had really deep market knowledge, had really good supportive capabilities around the things that we weren't great at, and also challenged us. So we were talking this morning, and the US market is a real opportunity for us, and we could see that. But the conversations I've had with the team in Refined Networks means that we will grow faster, quicker, because they have confidence in what we're doing, and they can see the size of the opportunity because they've got the ability to see what lots of premium brands are doing on the platform. So that gives us real confidence and allows us to kind of really power forward, particularly with the US market.
Yeah. So going into the US with Refined Networks, was that your first sort of step into the US, or had you been present before at a smaller scale?
We have a D2C business in the US and have had done for 4 years. But what we weren't able to do was make it consistently pay. So we'd have a boom year, a bust year, a boom year, a bust year. What we've been able to do since we've been with Refined Networks is we've been able to grow the customer base. And what's really great about that is that we're not cannibalizing. We're not seeing our existing customers shopping on a different channel. They are truly new customers. And then the halo of the brand awareness in that market has meant that our ability to continue to acquire customers, to invest in catalogues and digital marketing has continued. So we're about 70% up year on year in the US in our D2C business. And then we're also massively up with Refined Networks and our partner brands. And the dividends that pays us, it gives us more confidence in what we're buying. It allows us bigger economies of scale, better margins, better stock availability. And it almost gives us a perfect model for moving into another new country. So our next target would be Australia. We've not bottomed out the potential of the US, but the next one we can see over the horizon would be Australia for us. And we feel like the model of D2C plus Refined Networks together really helps us leapfrog into an environment in any market where we can get the most out of it.
And just to add to Claire, is that going into these massive platforms, so Nordstrom, they have 75 million visitors on a monthly basis on their website. Macy's has more than 150 million visitors on the website. So getting access to these platforms, getting a lot of exposure on your brand just opens up for the entire market. And because marketplaces is where you are in full control of pricing, you're in full control of exposure, then automatically you start to build the market from there. So I always say, it's almost like, it's priceless, the marketing you get out of that. You definitely get sales, as Claire rightly mentioned, but also the exposure. What is your brand all about? You can showcase exactly the brand as it should be to the consumer in America. And I think that's almost priceless to do that.
Very clear. Having now worked with Refined Networks and gone into the US and seen some of the successes, I would imagine that you get quite a lot of customer data and analytics
Yeah.
How is that being utilized in order to influence your overall approach in terms of expansion and also commercial decisions?
So I think on one level, it's really confirming for us what product truly does resonate and what the potentiality of that product is. So it's allowed us to slightly adjust our product offering and really lean into things that are working really well for us and kind of expand those with confidence that will work and there is a market for us. The kind of flip side of that is that we have much more confidence in all of our buys because we've got more routes to sell through on product.
Yes.
So terminal stock is not so much of a consideration. Markdown is not so much of a consideration because we know that we've got longevity in the routes to sell, particularly as we're expanding more and more. All of our collection is new to that customer, so we're just getting more net profit out of those products.
Yes.
And then the other thing it's enabling us to do is change our marketing strategy. So we have confidence that we can invest more in those markets, and it allows us to have more frequent and more meaningful conversations with their customers through mailing contacts, through dedicated email, tailored sites, influencers in market. It supports the ambition of growing the brand and building the brand in that market. So it isn't just about sales. It is absolutely about building the brand in those markets. It's really invaluable in getting the brand out there and people knowing about it. And then the other benefit is having that deep market understanding within refined networks allows us to be challenged, questioned, to reassure us when we've got question marks about anomalies that might be happening. It gives you the confidence to continue. You're not in a little bubble by yourself with no idea if what you're doing makes any sense in that market or if it's good, bad or indifferent. You have a real confidence about how you can move forward. And that means that strategically we're in a much better place than we were before we started.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
And how now you also spoke a bit about the next market potentially being Australia.
Yes.
Why exactly Australia as the next logical step?
So for us, at the moment, Australia with only a D2C business is some weeks is doing as they're in autumn and winter season are doing as much as our US D2C business with less investment.
Okay.
With less of a tailored website, with less dedicated contacts, with no catalogue or mailing strategy behind it. What it also allows us to do is extend the profitable life of a product because we can sell everything off season at full price. And for them, it's the right season. So that would really help us maximize the profitability of product and enable us to invest more in tailoring content, tailoring website, and making that a really cohesive and sense-making customer journey for an Australian customer. You know, in spite of the barriers of a slightly longer delivery time, a slightly longer returns time, that isn't a problem to them. I think as long as we play into the strengths of what the brand is about, British made, great quality, timeless style, and we're able to present ourselves in that way, it is working. So that's the next opportunity.
And just to add to Claire, what we see is a lot of brands when we are opening up for the marketplaces in America for them, like the likes of Nordstrom, Macy's and Bloomingdale's, we also offer to open up for their own website, so the us.com, and through one pool of stock. So that means that Refined has warehouse facilities in Dallas, Texas. So when brands ship their stock to our warehouse, we hold the contract with each individual platform. So it means that not only do they get access, but they also benefit from really strong commercials because we have so many brands going in. And at the same time, we have full integrated into the platform. So we can switch on a platform within 2 weeks for a brand. So once they are running on Nordstrom, we can switch on a new platform in easy. But the same also for their own web fulfillment. So this means that when they ship stock to us in Dallas, Texas, and we then have two platforms pointing at the same stock, we can also actually switch on their own website. So it means that we can also fulfill their own website. So if it's a customer from Miami, LA, New York, Boston, or wherever they are buying it from, we can then ship it to them from the same pool of stock. So that means low stock risk, but a high sales upside.
Yeah, I think getting product in the market builds trust with that customer that they are going to get it, they're going to get it in the time frame you've said, and it just makes that journey frictionless,
Yes.
which means repeat customers so much easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for you, looking back and reflecting a bit on the collaboration so far, what has been the biggest learnings?
I think the biggest learning for us is, and I think it's natural as a business starting in a new market, you're cautious. You want to service it, you want to grow it, but equally you don't want to double your stock buy to service it because it's an unknown. And we were definitely guilty of that in the first season. We didn't back the stock enough. We didn't buy in enough depth to really harness the opportunity. And through the conversations we've been having with the Refined Networks team, they're really challenged us in the US that we could quadruple our business, and we could do that within a year, not within 4 or 5 years, which is what it probably would have taken us to get there by ourselves. So we've been able to put a significant growth plan into place, back the stock into the right levels, which will benefit Refined Networks, but also gives us better stock availability so we can see the true potential. And get real growth, build the customer base out, and drive profitability, which there's no downside there.
Yes, makes sense. I think those are very interesting perspectives and reflections on the collaboration so far. Sune, anything you want to add to that? Obviously, we've already talked about how you can assist brands in terms of opening up some of these new doors, because actually you already have the accessibility once you're into your platform. So could it be interesting to see your vision in terms of recommending new markets, or your vision for jumping into new markets from the Refined Network side?
Yeah, I think one of the things what we always guide brands on once they partner with us is that start with one territory.
Yeah.
Learn from data, learn from scale, learn from visibility. Then we can always move them into to the next territory. One of the USP for Refined Networks is that you just need to have one contract, and that's with Refined.
Yeah.
You just need to have one integration, and that's with Refined. You only have to speak to one team, and that's the Refined team. And this access you to all the marketplaces on a global scale. So instead of you having different contracts and different integration, you can actually, it's a light touch access to the marketplace scene. So what we have seen actually, and this is some of the my favorite beauty stories, is that we have brands who launched with us in the UK when we started the business, and are now launching into the US and will launch into Europe as well. So what that actually means from a brand side is that they don't have to add resources internally to this business. It's pure growth, it's pure profitability, but it's actually also on a global journey with us. So this is what we are really aiming for, is that once brands are live with us, we would like to scale them on multiple platforms in multiple territories, and that's our goal with Refined.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a next logical step, seeing as now you're present in the UK, present in the US, Europe's just been opened? Is there a next sort of logical step for you guys?
So we're already working on Asia.
Yeah.
India and Asia is actually being mapped out right now. As we speak. So we're aiming for Q4 this year, going live in Asia. So once you are up and running in some of the other territories, they can also access into Asia. And then we see also a request from the platform for new categories. We are born as a fashion support for brands. But we see home and living being strong as well. Also beauty. There's a huge demand for these two categories as well. And we have just actually taken these two categories on as part of our strategy going forward. So and we even see brands, fashion brands having also home and accessories. Branding out. So that is a natural choice for us as well.
Yes. Very interesting. Any last remarks to add into the conversation from your perspective, Claire?
I think I would just really advocate for working with Refined Networks. It's been nothing but a positive experience for us. It's enabled us to remain focused on the core of our business, but grow in a painless way, which is brilliant. And we're feeling really optimistic about the future with Refined Networks and how big we can grow the brand. So.
Yes, I think especially the time that we're in, being able to focus on what you're good at and being able to outsource it out to a strategic partner, which can really help elevate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think is super, super crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if there's brands out there who is, you can say, holding back a little about marketplace and so on, give us a call.
Yes.
You know, we're happy to have a conversation about the opportunities and how easy it actually is. You know, a lot of brands has a wholesale background, but marketplace is actually, you know, winning a lot of distribution right now. So give us a call and let's talk it through and see how we can support.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Very pleasant to have you both on board today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.